most of my life up until, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, my life was just a mess. I grew up in an alcoholic family and, you know, just followed the path I was shown. Became quite a abuser of substances, and that kind of dictated my life for most of my life. And as a result of my substance abuse, I was arrested and I spent 5 years in prison. And that was an experience I don't ever want to go through again. But it taught me a lot about myself, and it taught me a lot about God, because that's where I found God. In a strange way, I don't regret the experience. I had actually been running a soup kitchen for the Catholic Church in my hometown at that point, and it's where I met my wife. And that's where I fell in love. And our relationship had been based on Christ at that point. I unfortunately moved away from that path. My son had just passed away a couple months before that, and he was sick, and I didn't really get to see him much. And it's a very helpless feeling, knowing that your child is sick and probably going to die and you can't do anything about it. My instinct is to protect. So I went inward, and it went really bad really fast. I abused substances like I never had before. I just self-destructed in many different ways. It became about me, and then so we went from there a couple months later, and it all just started to click again, as far as like coming out of the rabbit hole, and I started attending the men's addictions group here, and I saw in men here that it was okay to have my history, and it was okay to have failed. What's not okay is to not pick yourself back up and use the tools that God has given me, all of us. And so at this point in my life, it's about accountability. It's about, you know, I have men in my life now who don't co-sign my stupidity or my bad behavior. I mean, they will call me on it right away. And I need that. If I was left to my own devices, things probably wouldn't go so well. Listening to Pastor Bob, sitting in the service here, and the words he was saying, it was almost as if his words were touching my soul to the point where I said to myself, oh yeah, there is a God, and his son did die for my sins, and that I don't need to feel this anymore. And there's a solution. I just need to use it. I need to remember there's a solution and stop. There's a comfort in being in that pain. There really is. I mean, and once you get comfortable in it, you don't want to come out of it. And it was that moment in that service where I said to myself, I feel good. I can feel God's love back in me again. I want to feel this joy and peace. I had to be convinced that there were people who actually just genuinely care. Genuinely just want to demonstrate God's love. It took me a long time to believe that.